Tonight in Toronto, another 30-point game for Jalen Brunson. 35 for him. He went 6 of 9 from downtown. Cat, 14 points, 16 rebounds. Back off the one-game absence because of the sore calf. Josh Hart, 21 points, shooting 8 of 11 from the floor. And the Knicks going to Vegas for the Cup semifinals as they beat Toronto 117-101. Great to have you with us from our Delta MSU studios. Bill Pito along with Alan Hahn. So it's the Knicks in Orlando, Alan. Saturday, Cup semifinals from Las Vegas.
You ready to go?
Yeah, roll.
You ready to go, baby? You ready to go, Pito?
That is a
Vegas, baby.
That's a bad roll.
Off the table. That's sloppy dice.
That's a bad roll. The Knicks, of course, the last 2 years at this stage have lost.
Yep.
Unable to make the semifinals. 2 years ago, lost to Milwaukee. Speaking of dice, last year Trae Young rolling the dice here when Atlanta beat the Knicks, but this year the Knicks, they really wanted to win this game and get over the hump, and they were able to do it.
No, you could see it. And you heard Jalen Brunson talking to Mike and Clyde at the end of the game. With the defense that we saw in that second quarter, that first quarter they knew was unacceptable defensively. And if it wasn't for his brilliance, that first quarter would have been a lot worse. But Brunson was incredible. But then all of a sudden, the entire Knick team, you could tell, they all might have looked at each other in the huddle in between the quarters and said, do we want to go to Vegas or not? What do we want here? Because that second quarter was a team that was determined to take control of that game, take back control of that game, and then win that game.
The Knicks in the first quarter gave up 39 points. In the second quarter, they only gave up 13 points, second best defensive quarter they've had all season, and they outscored the Raptors in that second quarter, Allen, 34-13.
We're going to see, obviously, offense here, which is a brilliant move here from Karl-Anthony Towns, who really had a real rugged game. More on him later. But defensively, by the way, how about that dunk? A poster, Karl-Anthony Towns. But I really was hoping we'd show some defense, because I'll tell you what, it really was about defense in the quarter. The Raptors scored 4 buckets in the entire quarter, and they were all at the rim. Nothing on the perimeter, nothing that they were getting in the first quarter was happening whatsoever. The defense was phenomenal in that quarter. The deflections, the steals, 4 steals, 4 blocks in the quarter. Anunoby always a part of that kind of stuff. But look at the numbers there. Look at the shooting, the 5 for 21. I counted 4, but okay, 5 for 21. And the Knick offense with the 34 points as it built off of what they did in the first quarter. Offense was not the issue in the first quarter. It was defense. They were having trouble keeping players in front. They were getting mismatched. They were getting lost. They turned the ball over a lot. They seemed to lock it down in that second quarter, and they were determined to win this game. They were not going to go 0 for 3 in NBA Cup quarterfinals.
All right, Alan, let's bring in Wally Szczerbiak. He is in Toronto, was on the radio call on ESPN New York. Wally, what did you think tonight watching the game in person there?
Impressive performance, really was. Jalen Brunson set the tone like he normally does in that first quarter with a dominant first quarter. And I agree with Alan. If he didn't have 20 in that first quarter, Knicks could have been in deep trouble, because the Raptors, they tried to come out and feed off the energy of the crowd. They try to feed off a little bit of like energy and activity, and it really worked. That's what their coach Darko Rajokovic wanted them to do. And then, but then the Knicks, once they settled in, I think Josh Hart was key. The way he shot the ball, he's been outstanding. Just playing off Jalen Brunson in that starting lineup, that was the key to the victory.
Wally, did you know? I don't know if you're situated by the court. I think radio is, right? There was a fan early in the game that was getting into with Jalen Brunson, and it seemed to light an extra fire in him, because each bucket he hit, he was looking at the fan, letting him know. That's the kind of fuel that a star needs on the road, right, to feed off of, because, as you said, he set the tone, but he was on another level in that first quarter.
A little Michael Jordan motivation, maybe. Yeah. You don't want to poke the bear, I'll tell you. We are unfortunately up a little bit, but Tyler Murray noticed that. He noticed Jalen Brunson was pointing over with his 3 fingers over to a fan in the stands. So we kind of were a little bit alluded to what was going on, and Jalen Brunson he was on a mission tonight. He wants to go to Vegas. He wants to get this NBA Cup. This was an impressive win for this New York Knicks team. And Jordan Clarkson, impressive off the bench. He's got to play solid off the bench, give quality minutes, and that's important without Deuce McBride, and he brought that, I think, tonight.
Of course, Wally rubbing it in that was his player to watch.
He's a good player to watch.
Jalen Brunson now,
good.
Alan, at least 30 points in 3 straight. 22 games this year. He's had 12 this year with at least 30 points.
Yeah, 6 of 9 from 3, which ties his season high on 3-pointers of 6, and that was really, he was feeling it early. Look at him here in matchup, getting mismatches he wanted. He's got Hurdle on skates. It's whoever was guarding him, he wasn't hesitating at all to be in attack mode. We know he can get to his spots using his strength. And as Wally pointed out, there was something happening in that first quarter with him and a fan that just seemed to be that extra, whatever he needed to get fired up or to be in attack mode. That's exactly what it was. It flipped the switch, and Brunson was dominant. He also helped get off to a strong start in the third quarter. And we see here 87 30-point game in Knicks career
already.
That is now tied with Richie Guerin, the great Richie Guerin, for third most in Knicks history, and he's done it now 3 straight games as well. We already mentioned the three-point shooting. That 6 threes ties a season high.
Well, he was just amazing, and it just seems that he does a remarkable job of doing what the Knicks need. They needed his scoring in the first quarter because Brandon Ingram was running wild. He had 17 for Toronto in the first quarter, and Brunson, sensing that he had to match it, was able to even do better than 17 in the first quarter.
That's exactly what superstars do. That's a great point, Bill. I completely agree with you. A point guard has the pulse of what his team needs at any time. And Jalen Brunson knows when he needs to put his foot on the gas and be aggressive and get buckets. And he took advantage of Jamal Shead, who's a little bit of a small defender, although he's known as a tough, bullish type defender. But Jalen Brunson just doesn't get intimidated. He made some tough shots in that first quarter. He got himself going early, and then those threes started to fall. And I think he remembers 6 for 19 last time out against the Raptors at the world's most famous arena. He definitely bounced back like superstars do.
All right, and guys, Karl-Anthony Towns, Allen, another solid game, another double-double after 1 game absence. Didn't look like he was compromised tonight at all. He had 14 points and 16 rebounds, as I mentioned off the top of the show.
Yeah, again, not a lot of shooting for him. You see, he was just taking his. This is a nice move here. A double is coming. He splits it, makes the layup. I thought this was a gritty game. There's one of the blocks. He had a couple of blocks in this game. He also had a steal. And it was just something about, watch his tenacity here, because he misses, he gets blocked, he misses, gets his own rebound, a little Moses Malone, get your own rebound kind of stuff there. But Wally, I felt like he had a gritty type performance in this game. This wasn't a finesse game from Cat. This was a little more of a physical, gritty type of performance.
And I think his defense has been a lot better. I really do. He's not fouling. He's making teams make shots over him, and he came out of nowhere with a couple big blocks that really helped protect the rim. It feels like he's moving his feet to get to the spots first and foremost. And you say it all the time, Alan, you can't teach his size. 7 feet tall, long arms. Just get yourself in the right position and you're going to alter shots. And that's what he did against some pretty athletic, elusive offensive players like Scotty Barnes.
All right, Wally, great to see you as always. Have a safe trip home, and we'll see you soon.
Bring the Ducks home.
Yeah,
where's
Final
the Wally
Four
Duck?
in Vegas. Let's go, boys.
I thought you were never going to drop the Wally Duck. Where is it? Of course, it's in your pocket.
It's right here. It's right in my pocket. Fits in my pocket
duck.
Perfectly. This guy's going to Vegas. Let's go, Knicks.
All right, Wally, we'll see you soon, pal. Up next, so we got the Knicks in Orlando on Saturday in Vegas. Welcome back. The Knicks beat the Raptors 117-101, and this is after they were down 39-35 after the first quarter. Mike Brown's postgame comments presented by Chase.
They give Toronto a lot of credit. They came out and they kind of hit us in the mouth to start the game. They're extremely physical and on both ends of the floor, really pressuring the ball and getting up in the passing lanes. Trying to make it difficult for us offensively. And, you know, we kind of stuck in mud a little bit on that end of the floor. And Jalen did what he was supposed to do. He bailed us out offensively in that first quarter. And so, you know, we were able to score with them or keep it close because Jalen had a big first quarter, which he obviously is more than capable of doing. That's just who he is when you're talking about, you know, an MVP candidate of the league. And then, you know, after that first quarter, everybody on our team just started getting aggressive. We just said, you know, forget what we're supposed to be doing offensively. If they get up in you, just attack. Drive. If you can finish, go ahead and finish. If you draw a 2, go ahead and kick it. And, you know, if we could set up a high brush screen and look to attack their pressure, let's do that as well. And so our guys were all really good with that the rest of the game. You know, anytime they tried to get up and pressure us and or double team the ball, we were really patient, methodical, and we made pretty good decisions with the basketball when we got to the rim or when we faced a double team. So, you know, they're very aggressive defensively with a lot of pressure. So our guys handled it, I thought, well the rest of the game. That second quarter, we were really good defensively. You know, to hold a team like that to 13 points in a quarter, that was the difference of the ball game. I thought in the second half, getting back in transition and them scoring only 8 fast break points when they lead the league in that category was huge for us. And then, you know, a lot of different great individual performances. We needed every single offensive rebound that we could get. And, you know, scoring 25 points off of 14 offensive rebounds was huge with Mitch and Cat coming up with a combined 9. But at the end of the day, continuing to find ways to get stops against this team because they're just so good in transition and trying to spread you out. It was awesome to see. OG was our defensive player of the game. He had a monster game, you know, switching back and forth between Josh and Mikhail guarding Barnes and Ingram. Great game by all 3 of our guys defensively against those 2 guys.
Like that second quarter, you mentioned it defensively, felt like one of the best 6-minute stretches this group has put together. What did you see it? From my point of view, it looked like just guys swarming, suffocating, just everybody kind of on a string there.
No, 100%. You know, we were definitely on a string, and every time the ball moved, all 5 guys moved. All 5 guys were in sync. We had a couple of what we call rear view challenges. You know, those guys are great scorers, and when guys get to their spots, if we're in our shifts, which our guys were tonight, you can help bother and or block some of those shots from behind. And I thought our guys did a pretty good job in their shifts and creating some opportunities to get a rear view challenge. But more importantly, we ended it with a defensive rebound, and we were able to get out and go the other way on them.
How much does Josh's shooting at this level just unlock not just his game, but just what this offense can do and how teams have to guard him eventually?
Yeah, I tell you, it's interesting, you know, to continue to see teams put their 5 on him. I think he's shooting close to 40% from the 3, if not that. I don't know exactly, but they keep going in and people keep leaving them open because they're trying to put their 5s on them, and maybe down the road they might think that, you know, he can shoot a little bit, but he works really hard at it, and so it's no surprise to us that he's shooting it as well as he is because, you know, 5 is not used to guarding a guy out on the perimeter. 5 wants to go help, and when we create paint touches with ball reversals, it's natural for a 5 to start drifting towards that rim, and our guys are doing a good job of finding him with sprays, and he's knocking them down.
I think you guys right out of halftime had a couple plays where it just swung to everybody and to Josh for, I think, consecutive 3s.
Yeah, no, again, our whole thing is obviously his pace. We in a full court in the front court. Then we want to space the floor the right way, ball reversals and paint touches, and that's all we started on. We just, like, usually the plays don't get you the shot. You run an action to start the dominoes to fall. And we want to be really aggressive with whatever action we run. And our guys they were aggressive to start the action, which created their defenses doing that because that's what most good defensive teams do. And then again, if you're a center and you're guarding Josh, who's on the perimeter, if you continue to keep the game simple and make the right play, that ball has a lot of energy. It's going to find the open guy.
Coach, you won 8 out of 9, and it seems to have coincided with Josh going in the starting lineup. I'm sure that you have a sort of baseline knowledge about guys before you start coaching them, but what have you learned about a guy like Josh who kind of has like an unconventional physical profile, style of play, everything else?
I tell you what, he reminds me of Andre Iguodala from the sense that if you don't really understand basketball, then it's hard to really appreciate their game. And both those guys, sometimes you look at them and you might be like, well, he's not really this, he's not that, he can't do this again. It's the opposite. They can do everything. Josh can do everything. There's just some things that he does that are elite and some things that he does pretty good. That's what Josh is. He does everything that you want him to do, not only offensively but defensively too. Guarding 1 through 5 and so on and so forth. Same offensively. Some of the things he does elite at an elite level, and some of the things he does at a pretty good level. And when you have a player with an IQ of Andre or Josh, man, good things can happen for your whole team, and it makes your job easier as a head coach.
I'm gonna do 2 more. So you talked about Jalen bailing you out early.
Yeah.
Did you like when they started sending him to it, and you like the way he got off the ball? And
100%. He was, he was really patient with it. He played off of 2 feet. He made on-time, on-target passes. He was fantastic when they started sending 2 at him, whether it was to hit him, excuse me, or it was to blitz him in a pick and roll. But I also have to give the guy that went to the middle of the floor and the rest of the guys that spaced the floor the right way, I got to give them a lot of credit too, because they helped Jalen make his decisions easier.
Often speak of teams finding their identity, whether it's Josh in the lineup or just the way you guys have been rolling the last few weeks. Do you feel like this team has found its identity, and if so, what would you say it is?
Yeah, we're starting to figure out who we are. I've said this before. Early in the season, we had a lot of injuries during the preseason, so I didn't have a good feel for this team, or as good a feel as I needed to have, and that's part of the reason why we struggled on the road. It's a lot of the reason why we struggled on the road to a certain degree. And then once I started getting comfortable, it helped the group get more comfortable. We still, I know it sounds crazy, but we still have a lot of room to grow on both sides of the floor. We could be an extremely high-level defensive team. Like 2 of our top defenders in Landry and Deuce are out, and they're phenomenal on the ball, and they bring a level of physicality on the ball that not many guys around the league can bring. But we can be a phenomenal defensive team, and then with the weapons and skill set that we have offensively, we can be a phenomenal offensive team as well. So, I don't think it'll just be one side of the ball. I think we have a chance to be a high-level team on both sides, and it'll be interesting when we get there.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you, guys.